Has that information education helped this partnership moving forward?
Entirely, yep.
Well, I never had any of that experience. So imagine going, hey, I want to start my own whatever, or let's start something. Here, all I can offer is this half of it, which was the skill set and a lot of the contacts and a lot of the understanding of how like this specific field goes. And then to go, oh, hey, by the way, I don't know numbers. I mentioned that 100 times. I'm terrible with numbers. So I need to figure out how to run books. And a lot of people will say like, or will, complain to me or say like, oh, I'm so busy, like I have so much on my plate. And I'm like, you don't have to worry about infrastructure. Like that's a thing you take for granted when you work for someone else or you work for an existing business, because the amount of infrastructure it even takes to operate a business. And so it's great to bring in revenue to service the work, but if you can't keep records of it, if you don't know how to project things, if you don't have someone that's working on sales or marketing or any of that, like even the software, like Adam will tell you I'm the most impatient person period, but I'm really impatient with even like email and stuff. Like you need so much stuff. And I worked at a big law firm and I worked at a counsel office. So like a lot of infrastructure, a little bit of infrastructure, and then to do nothing. So all Adam's background. And then you want to hit the ground running and saying, I want clients. Like, well, they don't like just come to your door. Like they don't just knock and go, hey, what's your open?
It seems like that's a perfect relationship, because if your interest in school, it seemed like sociology, which would have to do with that block by block difference that developers really, wouldn't they need to know culturally how to come into a neighborhood the right way?
Well, if you don't care about, like, I'm really interested in like human behavior. Like psychology, sure, I took a psych class in college. It didn't like click with me, but like sociology is like human behavior. It's like why people do what they do. And like for another time, if you understood how we grew up, like it was always important for me to understand what, like, to sort of almost anticipate how someone was going to behave so I could like figure out how to like react or how to like handle something so that I could get ultimately what I needed to get out of whatever was going on.
Chess, not checkers.
Everything is chess with me. Like listen, it's how you move. Well, it's how you move. And so.
And just to go back a little bit, like 90% of any business is the same. That's what I found in the different, I really took some different places and 90% of it is the same. Anybody says different, it really isn't in my opinion. And that's because we do something unique. That's the 10%. Businesses still need the same, still need operations. You still need administrative stuff. You still need marketing. You still need sales. You still need money. And with that was a confidence booster, I would say, because I got to experience all of it. When you get to actually sit, like when you're a lawyer sometimes, you're working on stuff for people. Yeah. And you may have really intimate knowledge, but then how you go see it affect. So I got to write contracts, negotiate contracts, and then see them take effect. Good and bad. And it happens all the time
Not just
today.
like, in a sense, siloed in that space.
Right, and then you pass it on, right? Which now, listen, we do that at times, but we have if people could go back in time, right, like when they went to college, right, I was in finance. Yeah. Well, I understood it, but like I'm sitting in a marketing class learning about marketing concepts, and wouldn't it have been great if I had 5 or 10 years of marketing experience to say, all right, let me really listen down on this thing. Because this actually makes sense where like theoretical, and that's the hardest part of law school. Yeah. A lot of it's very theoretical until you get in.